I'm Sarah Gulseth. It is Monday. What day is it? June 24th. I don't have Andy here to tell me what day it is, so, oh boy, you never know what's going to happen in studio today. I am all by myself today, running the board for the coffee hour. Andy Bates is on vacation, a well-deserved vacation with his family. He should be back, Lord willing, on Thursday. It is also convention season, conference season, so we are traveling all over the place. We have National Youth Gathering coming up just in a couple of weeks where Andy and I will be broadcasting live, and then convention after that where KFUO will have a booth. And Mary just got back from the LWML convention over the weekend. So we are all over the place. Make sure you stop by, see KFUO if you're going to any of those conventions. And speaking of traveling, in our first segment, we get to go to the Kingdom of Cambodia, that sounds really fascinating. I don't think we've ever talked to anybody from Cambodia on the coffee hour, so this will be great. And then in the second segment, another one of my favorite things to talk about, social media. And how do pastors approach social media in the church? And should they? And how does that all work? We'll have Pastor Dembski on to talk about that in the second segment. Thanks to our underwriters, Concordia University, Wisconsin, for your support of the coffee hour. You can find out more about them at cuw.edu. Live Uncommon. Joining me in studio today are the Reverend JP and Aimee. And I didn't ask for a pronunciation of your last name while I was running around.
Cima.
Cima. I didn't want to say it wrong. Thanks for joining me in studio. Welcome to the coffee hour.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, we like to throw missionaries into the radio land right when they get here. You never know. So tell me about your journey to the mission field, how long you've been on the mission field.
So we've been serving on the mission field about 12 years now.
Wow.
And our journey actually started when JP was at the seminary and came home to me one night and said, Aimee, what do you think about going on the mission field? And I said, oh, well, that's nice. Maybe when we're in our 50s and we've had some experience in a congregation, we could think about that. And he said, no, what about like now? And I said, oh, no, that's just not going to happen. And just over that year, God kind of put it on my heart. Okay, maybe we should just talk to some people and consider it. So we met with several couples in the St. Louis area that we knew that had been missionaries and served in various fields, and started sitting down and having conversations with people. And through that process, God really worked in my heart and in both of our hearts to say, hey, maybe it's not bad to go without much experience and to go as learners. And so we just were open to the idea and let people know that we were open to the idea. And about 3 days before I gave birth to our first child, we had breakfast with a few people that sat down and asked us if we'd be willing to serve in Vietnam. And we kind of said, wait, there was a war there. We don't really know much about otherwise. It began our journey to Southeast Asia. And we are now serving in the Kingdom of Cambodia, and it's been a crazy ride, but we're thankful that we've come there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and 12 years, that's a long time to be on the mission field. How has that been for the family?
It is a long time when we think about the fact that just 12 years ago, we had, our daughter Celeste. She was 5 months old, and now we have 3 children. Mm-hmm. And for them, living on the mission field is normal. Mm-hmm. Coming back to the United States is vacation land. Mm-hmm. But for them, their normal, their everyday is Southeast Asia. Mm-hmm. And so it's a different kind of life, but a life that's really blessed too. They have friends from all over the world, and they have family that continue to care about them. We've been fortunate that our families, both sets of parents, have been out to see us in Southeast Asia many times over the years. Mm-hmm. So we try to bridge the geographical distance as best we can.
Yeah. And I'm sure technology now probably helps
It
a lot with that
sure
too.
does.
Yeah.
Constantly on video calls with grandparents who want to see their grandchildren.
Of course. What is the time difference?
Well, from St. Louis right now, it's 12 hours
Okay.
to Cambodia, but it depends on daylight savings time.
Of course.
It's either 12 or 13 hours. Yeah.
Oh, daylight savings time. What is your work in Cambodia? What are you sent to do right now?
So we're sent to really serve the Cambodia Lutheran Church, which is a collection of about 25 congregations throughout the country in Cambodia. And what's really wonderful about serving in Cambodia is that we're not starting something new, but rather we're joining something that's been going on for a long time. And that's the beauty of a place like Cambodia. It's a great picture of how different entities can work together to start something wonderful. So the work in Cambodia many, many years ago started with LCMS missionaries, also with Lutheran Hour Ministries, Lutheran Heritage Foundation, now the Garuna Foundation, Lutheran Church Canada, all are involved in Cambodia. And so we have a wonderful opportunity to work together with all of these different entities for the sake of the gospel for the people of Cambodia.
Yeah. What is the Lutheran landscape like in Cambodia? I hadn't even thought about Lutherans in Cambodia. What does that look like?
Small. And that's true, I think, in most places in Asia. Again, the Christian landscape itself is small in Cambodia. In a country of 16 million, we're talking about maybe 2% of the population. And so then when that's the Christian landscape, the Lutheran landscape is a small subset of that. And so we're working in congregations where if you have 40 people showing up on a Sunday, that's a large congregation in Cambodia. Yeah. And these are all house churches. Nobody has these gorgeous buildings like the churches here in the United States. These are folks that are worshiping sometimes in nothing more than a tin shack.
Wow. That's a very different experience than we have here. What language do you get to speak English much, or have you kind of immersed yourself in a local language?
So we've only been there for 10 months, but we are trying to learn the local language, which is Khmer. So JP has been studying 3 mornings a week, and I've been studying 2 evenings a week when our children are in bed. Fortunately, the people of Cambodia are also quite skilled at speaking English, and particularly the pastors that we're working with are very capable speaking in English, which is helpful.
Yeah.
Just getting started and kind of getting our feet on the ground. But people also mainly speak Khmer, and so we are working in earnest to be able to speak in the local language and to converse with people in their heart language.
Absolutely. When you go shopping, is any of that in English, or is that a whole different experience?
Yes, there are some shops where people would speak English. Certainly the local market where you would buy fruits and vegetables and meat, they're not English speakers. So my probably first language skills are market Khmer. So how to say different fruits and vegetables and
how to bargain,
how to ask for the prices and, tell them how much amount of everything you want.
Sure. Yeah. Bargaining is a different concept than anything we know of.
My general rule of thumb is whatever price they give you, divide by at least a half and start there and then meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very, very not American thing to have to learn how to do.
Can you imagine if you went to Schnucks and had to bargain for every fruit and vegetable?
You'd be there for hours. And people would give you a really weird look, too.
They'd probably kick you out at the end of the day.
Probably, yes.
One of the first times we came back to the U.S., I took my children, our first 2 children, who were then 2 and 4 years old, to Target. And our oldest daughter, who was then 4, wanted to buy a toy. And she looked at the price, and she looked at her little baggie of money that she had gotten from doing chores. And she said, "Do you think they would bargain?" And I said, "No, sweetie, they don't bargain at Target."
It would have been really adorable to see her try, though.
Right, it sure would.
Speaking of the kids, what do the kids do while you're there with schooling, education, for fun?
So our oldest 2 are 12 and 9, and they attend a Christian school that we're very thankful for. So most of their day is spent studying in school in that typical routine. Our youngest is 2, so he's at home with me and has a kind of varied schedule based on the day, but mainly is playing and building bridges with people in our neighborhood and in the community because he's adorable.
Yeah, adorable kids are good for that.
Kids are an amazing missionary tool. They really are. Not to make my kids a tool, but they open so many doors. So many doors.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves adorable little kids. So, I mean, if that starts conversations, that would be a good thing on the mission field.
Well, especially in Southeast Asia, it's very different. I get the sense sometimes in the United States that if you have unruly kids in a restaurant, people get a little uncomfortable. But in Asia, they think it's adorable.
They'll pick them up and take them for a walk.
That's fantastic. We have actually just about a minute left. What were your expectations going into this mission field in Cambodia, and how have those expectations played out in 10 months that you've been there?
I think being a missionary, you try to minimize expectations as much as possible, and especially going to a second mission field after our first. We had enough experience that we were able to reframe some of our expectations. Now, it's only natural that you're going to have some, but trying to keep those realistic, trying to realize that it's not going to be easy to expect difficulty, to expect trial, and to ultimately rely on God's grace through it all. And that is truly what carries us day to day.
Yeah. What are you most excited about moving forward as you continue on in this mission field?
I think just continuing to build on the relationships that have begun in our first year. We feel excited going back after being away for these 2 months in the summer. And there are people that we miss and people that we've been in touch with over Facebook and WhatsApp. And so just going back and being able to build on those relationships, it feels very exciting.
Absolutely. Is there any way for us to follow you on social media, online, to know your story?
Absolutely. We're both on Facebook. We also have a photo blog at cimafam.com. That's CIMAFAM.com. We'd love to have you follow us.
Fantastic. The Reverend JP and Aimee Cima serving the Lord in the Kingdom of Cambodia. Thanks so much for being my guests on the Coffee Hour.
It's our great pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
You're listening to the Coffee Hour. More right after this.